Welcome to the Podcast with Purpose.
All right. Welcome back to the Podcast with Purpose. I am your host, Nate Link, and today we have two special guests with us. One you may already know, and one is brand new to the company. I am pleased to welcome our first guest, Carl Edwards. Carl is the newly appointed Regional Facilities Manager, FMS-New York.
Correct.
Say that 5 times fast.
Definitely.
And our familiar face is Bill Friedel, Director of Environmental Services. Gentlemen, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks.
Yeah, all right.
Been looking forward to this moment for a while.
I have
I'm
too.
with the coolest guy at Human Technologies Corporation, Nathan Link.
Well, yes, you did make me seem kind of cool. I appreciate that. I'm going to use that as my ringtone on my phone now. Carl, a warm welcome to you. Let us get to know you a little bit. Tell us kind of where you were before Human Technologies, and let's get into a little more detail about what you'll be doing here in this newly appointed position.
I appreciate the opportunity for one to be here to speak to everybody, let them know who I am and what I'm about to do for the company. My background, I'm local. I'm from Clinton, New York. So I was born and raised and bred in this area. And then I decided to go Army. So I went into the military, retired out of the Army, and went right straight into project management for pretty much the rest of my life. I've been doing project management for some of the larger firms here in Syracuse, Buffalo, Rochester. In the way the project management works in the real world versus the military is quite different. So I've taken different educational background to get some training and more education in project management. So for me, being a fit for this job was kind of easy fit in. I've been there, done that type thing, but it's just human technology is a little different structure than what I'm accustomed to. And Phil, I'm breaking in good. Phil's keeping me
Busy.
daily. But pretty much, like I said, from the get-go, it's all been project management and maintenance. It's one of the big ones. I worked nuclear facilities for 14 years, which is zero tolerance type feeling you get when you work there. You got to be perfect, it seems like, at everything. So, and that's what I've been doing for quite a few years now.
All right, thank you. So it seems like it's kind of in your DNA.
That's correct.
Yeah, good. Well, we're glad to have someone with your background and your experience. And again, I think that's one of the things that keeps Human Technologies out in front of our competitors is we hire the industry expert. And it seems it's evident here with Carl's appointment that we continue to do that, which is great. So we're talking about this term FMS, or Facilities Management Services. I'm going to turn this over to Bill and give us an overview on precisely what is Facilities Management Services. What does that mean?
So we started off as just doing one Navy Reserve Center in Schenectady, New York, and starting in 2008. So the idea is that you have a conglomeration of about 75 different subcontractors doing work for the Navy at one particular location. So everything needed to be done by a contractor. So they decided to come up with this program of building operation services for their reserve centers. So they tried out Schenectady as the first one, and they liked it, so they gave us 11 more reserve centers within the next year. We call that, instead of boss contracting, we call that facility management services, which merely means that we are doing basically soup to nuts. We do grounds, janitorial, snow removal. We do waste management, bringing the trash in and out of the facility. We do recycling. So if it needs to be done at the facility, if there's a hole in the ground, we fill the hole. If there's a hole in the parking lot, we fill that hole. If the gates need to be repaired, we fill that. If we need to do fences, anything that needs to be done at a facility, they contact us and we take care of that. So that's, in a nutshell, facility management services is the management of any service that's performed at a facility.
Mm-hmm. And that's quite the list of things. And so I know some of these things we have our folks doing the work, and then some of the larger things. Obviously, we don't put up fences for a living. We would subcontract that out, correct?
Right. So we started this business as doing only partial whatever was tasked. So we did HVAC maintenance and repairs. We did grounds, janitorial, snow removal, the same stuff. But it morphed into doing everything at these facilities instead of just those particular things that were dedicated in the contract. And that's how we got into total facilities management rather than just partial. We had a lot of subcontractors initially. As I said, when we started in 2008, we had 2 employees that were part-time. We had a lot of subcontractors. So really the benefit to people with disabilities, this being a set-aside contract for those under the Source America Ability One program, was that we only had 2 part-timers over this dollar value of $1,078,000. So slowly but surely, we started taking over wherever we were allowed to. We would take over the responsibility of a subcontractor. Subcontractors can be either a godsend or they can be a nightmare. In many cases, it was a nightmare because I can't control their schedule. I can't control their quality and performance. I can by getting rid of them. So we started training or hiring people to do all of those responsibilities that we had subcontractors for. And eventually we ended up with, I think we have maybe 4 subcontractors now out of 80. And now we have 43 human technologies employees instead of 2 part-timers.
Yeah. And that's, so again, creating jobs, training.
Absolutely. So I know I'm off script here, but
No, that's
I'm kind of speeding ahead.
You're on script and you are 100% good.
Good.
So I know you listed some of these jobs that we have, but what are some of the jobs in facilities management services? What does that umbrella look like, from starting with Bill Friedel, Director of Facilities Management Services, all the way down to a day one custodian new hire? What are the different range of jobs there?
So the Director of Facility Management Services overall of this program. So like I said, we started off at $1,078,000. We now are at $5,175,000. So that's a huge shift in the years, 15 years since I started on this process, or 14 years since I started on the process. We went from 2 part-time employees to 43. I'm the head of that portion of the business. Mm-hmm. And so all of the people that work within the facility management services and all those folks that do support really push this wagon up the hill. So then you have the regional facility support guys, or regional facilities managers. Their job is to take a portion of that, which is usually 1/3. We got Mike Schwarm on the west, mm-hmm. In Pennsylvania, and we have Todd London on the east in Pennsylvania and Delaware, mm-hmm. and we have our newly appointed regional facilities manager, Carl Edwards, for New York State, which is 4 reserve centers in Buffalo, Rochester, Schenectady, and Syracuse. The working for them are the project supervisors and maintenance technicians. So a project supervisor is the person who's responsible for everything that happens within that facility. If I go to that facility, or Carl goes to that facility, or anybody else, including the maintenance technician, go to that facility, they're responsible to that supervisor to be the face of human technologies and make sure that everything goes the way that it's planned and in accordance with the specifications. So they have a big responsibility, and they report directly to the regional facilities manager. The maintenance technician, again, is the guy who's doing all of these repairs. Anything that's beyond his capability or training, We hire out to do onesie, twosie, whatever needs to be done to meet the contract obligations. But for the most part, those maintenance technicians are responsible for the maintenance and repairs of all the HVAC equipment and then anything else that breaks down in a facility. If I hire a subcontractor to do work on our behalf, they're responsible to oversee what that contractor's doing. Then we have custodians and grounds workers, and that name is appropriate because that's what they do. They clean our facilities, and I can say that we honestly do the best job of any company I've seen. We've taken over, in the last year and a half, we've taken over 4 facilities that belong to somebody else, another company, and within a month, the customer knows that we mean business. We have a great and a robust quality program that puts us head and shoulders above the rest, in that we send 4 people out in a year in different responsibilities to make sure that our quality level is met. And the people who are overseeing quality, which is the director, the regional facilities manager, the vice president of operations, and the supervisor, all are measuring our quality the same way, and they're doing a good job of it. So that's pretty much in a nutshell the responsibilities of each of the people that work under the Human Technologies Facility Management Program. We do have a great support staff, so Christina Hoover and Alicia Rocco support us. We couldn't do it without them. And then we have obviously the finance office and payroll, and those support HR, doing our hiring and whatever's necessary in the HR role.
That's so. I've had a chance to visit in Buffalo. Mm-hmm. I believe it was called a NOSC at that point, but it's basically a Naval Reserve Center where people are coming in for training on a regular basis, correct?
That's correct.
And there's a Marine training center right next door, attached to it, Mar4 Res,
right?
Correct? So these are, I guess the point I'm trying to get at with this is these are military buildings. They have to be clean. They have to be orderly. They have to shine. I walked in to both of these buildings, and as soon as you walk in, literally the floor is just shining. Everything is in perfect shape. And I think in Buffalo's are 4 guys on that right now.
There are currently 4 guys.
4 guys, yeah, doing all of that. So when I was there, everything was 100% spotless. Not only were we subcontracting to lift boats out of the water and dry dock them for the winter, we were out there doing the lawn, taking care of all that. There was somebody taking out an actual utility pole and hooking it up to a crane to get this project going. And these 4 guys were everywhere at once, but no one was rushing through everything. Everybody knew exactly what they were doing, and it just was like clockwork to see it. And to your point, it's the dedication. It's we take this serious. We take this serious, and the quality, everything. It's evident that it's there. And I guess what I'm trying to get back to is these military bases, they have to be perfect this way. And they're not just going to have anyone come in and do it. And we came in, we had that opportunity in Schenectady with the one, and now we just keep getting more and more and more. So I think that's a true testament to what we're doing as an organization and all the hard work everybody's putting in here.
Absolutely.
So it's
you picked one evolution that's a recent pickup for us as well, which is lifting boats in and out of the water. So these are large patrol crafts that in the event of we have a border between Canada and us, we train those guys in those boat divisions to we don't do the training, but the Navy Reserve Center, as you said, does the training on weekends for these guys to come in and man these boats and go out and interdict boats that may want to do harm to our country or to a standing vessel out in the middle of the water. So they patrol those boats to make sure that those are safe. So they got, in order to do training, got to put in the water, but it freezes up there, so you got to take them out of the water. And then a crane evolution is a very complicated, very dangerous evolution. You're lifting in excess of 200,000 pounds in and out of the water with a big crane on the shore. So we hired the contractor. We made sure that he does all of his administrative burden and make sure that he's prepared to lift this thing out of the water. We do safety briefs before we start. We do debriefs when we're done. And like you said, it's an orchestrated evolution. There's no room for error. So we go from the very uncomplicated to the very complicated in a matter of a moment. And again, it's only because they trust us, because historically, through the last 14 or 15 years, we have proven that we can do anything that they ask us to do.
So you mentioned, Bill, the first contract was in Schenectady, New York. But then when we were going through the team, you mentioned West, Pennsylvania, Delaware. How far are we spread out with these, and how many contracts?
So currently we have 3 contracts. One with NAVFAC Maine, which is out of Kittery, Maine. That takes care of the 4 reserve centers in New York, which are Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, and Schenectady. We have Erie, Pennsylvania on the west, Evansburg, Pennsylvania, and North Versailles, which is just outside of Pittsburgh. Then on the east, we have Allentown, Pennsylvania. We have Wilmington, Delaware, and Avoca, Pennsylvania, which is Wilkes-Barre, Scranton area. Those are the locations. But we also just, as I mentioned, we picked up 4 new contracts, which is the Army Reserve Center in Coraopolis, Pennsylvania. And this was all within the last year and a half. The U.S. Forest Service has a Allegheny supervisor's office which is very large for a supervisor's office. I'd like to have an office that big. We picked that up in Western Pennsylvania, and the U.S. Federal Courthouse in Erie. So these are all contracts that we took over from other contractors that were failing in their business or didn't want to do it any longer, and we took those over. So the last one that we took over was Defense Logistics Agency down in Scotia, New York, which is just outside of Schenectady, and it's a small contract. It's a foot in the door. So we're expanding our business as it makes sense to do. We're looking forward to some. We got some opportunities on the horizon that have not come to fruition yet, but they're in the building stages. That could be twice as big as what we have here.
Yeah,
currently.
I think it's worth noting too. Human Technologies has other contracts in our 3PL services and our uniform management services with the U.S. Forest Service. So they've been a customer of ours for 10 plus years. We do their full uniform. So we kind of had that proven track record with them already. And it's nice to see this side of the business feed off that as well.
Right.
Defense Logistic Agency, our 3PL services, we've been working with them for 10 plus years as well. So it's good to see all of this come together and us being a trusted name within these large organizations. They're comfortable giving other pieces of work to us that aren't just related to those contracts.
Sure.
So it's good to see that. Am I correct in saying there is room for advancement, and we believe in training? And I know we talked about with our first contract, we had X amount of subcontractors, and then, hey, let's teach our folks to do these things. We have complete control of it now, the quality and everything. Is there room for advancement and room for training? So if someone comes in and I am a custodian, I have goals for myself. I'm going to work as hard as I can, and then I want more responsibility. I want to grow with Human Technologies. Is that opportunity available within these facilities management contracts?
Absolutely. So one of the issues that we have is that we are spread out over this huge area that we're growing, and we have different pieces in those areas that are remote. That always brings up opportunity in that we have, if we have somebody who's performing well in one particular area at a rate, let's say that you are a custodian and you have the wherewithal to be a supervisor, if you've shown good promise that you're going to, that you've done well in in what we ask you to do currently, and you've taken some classes to learn how to operate a computer, how to do any particular task that a supervisor would have to do, that gives you that leg up. You can apply to any of those positions as you see fit. Even if you're not qualified, you can apply for the position. HR posts all of those positions before we actually hire someone to do that job. We've had employees go from custodian to supervisor to maintenance technician. So that's a huge jump from going from a custodian to a supervisor to a maintenance technician. Maintenance technician requires a lot of knowledge in that you're going to be fixing HVAC equipment. So you have to be qualified as an HVAC technician before you can be hired to do that work. So if you work your way from custodian and you take classes that relate to getting your certification as an HVAC technician, there's many ways to do that. In New York, we have BOCES. In other places, we have technical colleges that do that work. We're willing to pay for a portion of that, as well as giving you time to do testing and things of that nature. You're going to have to do some investment, not only monetarily, but you'll have to do that investment in time, like evening classes. But the end result could be you're going to go from you're going to advance yourself both professionally and monetarily.
Yeah, and these are skills that are making you more marketable.
Absolutely, and obviously, then the sky's the limit. I mean, if you're a good maintenance technician, so you went from custodian to supervisor to maintenance technician to regional facilities manager to director. I mean, that's not without merit.
Yeah, yeah, and human technologies background. You know, we're celebrating 70 years next year, so it's not like we just started 15 years ago with a few contracts. You'll see people walking through these halls and spread out from here again to Pennsylvania that have, 5, 10, 15, 20 years easily. And it's because this company will continually reinvest in its employees and its workforce. Right. And it's obviously it's a two-way street, right? So you're putting in the work, but we recognize the talent, we recognize the hard work, and we're always willing to promote that and put that person in the position that they need and want and hope to be in. Absolutely. So it's a beautiful thing to see.
The only thing I can add to any of this is my background being in the nuclear industry.
Yeah.
The standards there are set so high by IMPO and NRC, and coming here to human technologies, going into the military bases that we are, I kind of see the same standards human technology puts out is the same thing I was going through in the nuclear world, and the expectation from the military is the same. So it's good to see that I fell right into it, and human technology their standards almost the same as the NRC's or IMPO's or a nuclear plant. So if you've ever been to a nuclear plant, you would understand what I'm talking about. So it's a good feeling. So,
and it brings up a great point in that all of these contracts in FMS currently are under the Ability One program. Yep. And we support the federal government. We're talking about our warfighters, our guys that, these guys have to go support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. I remember those words. For us to do, we're doing our part by making sure that they have a comfortable, decent place to do their training. Yeah.
So you said that, Bill. Again, full circle for you. You're retired Navy.
Absolutely.
Right, and now you're working closely with them again on these. So the majority of your life was these standards, these operating procedures.
One of the things that attracted me to this position was that it was again, you spend 20 years in the service wearing the same uniform, again the same haircut, and then you leave. It's a strange changeover for what you were used to, and then when this opportunity came up to take care of Navy and Marine Corps Reserve Centers, right up my alley, I miss those times. So I get along well. I understand the metrics of what the military does.
It's the overall culture.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that concludes episode 15 of the podcast with Purpose. I would like to thank Bill and Carl for joining us today. I hope our listeners got a nice overview on our facilities management services. And as an added bonus, I will put a link in the show notes to the video that gives us a nice overview of that boat evolution in Buffalo we were talking about earlier. Thanks for joining in, and we'll see you next time.